Good morning, everyone. It's John Ng from Manager Concept, and today I've got Emila Kmetis from 412 Accountants. Now, Emila and I have we've never actually met. We've only been talking and chatting on social medias for the best part of a year and a half. And we have a wonderful professional relationship. And a few months ago, that's how long it's taken for us to get together, I shared on my social media stories, would anyone be interested to talk about, for me to talk with an accountant and have him or her share some insights on tax season, gearing, positive or negative? And I had a very, very positive response. 100% of everyone who responded to it said yes. So here I am today with Emila. And Emila, hello.
Hi, thank
Hello
you for
there.
having me. John. Nice to meet you as well. So
Nice to meet you. Let's hope we do it in person one day.
agree.
Well, Emma, tell us a little bit about 412. I know geographically, we're all based in the West, but I know your office isn't in the West.
Yeah, so 412 is based in South Melbourne, chartered accounting firm that's providing small business advisory services in a simple way to small business owners and individuals. We focus on getting to know our clients, their goals, and being proactive, building solutions based on the client, like on their own needs, rather than what we think is best fit as an overall strategy. We started about coming to 3 years now, and have been sort of expanding in a weird way because of COVID, which has been a pleasant surprise, but also not something we expected. So yeah, tax season keeps us busy, and so does the rest of the year as well.
Wonderful, wonderful. And 3 years, wow. I always say anyone who's running a small business and they get past the first 2 or 3 years, you're doing a good job, because I say the same thing to myself. I look at myself in the mirror. Am I crazy? What am I doing this for? Yeah.
I think we all get those moments.
That's right.
Before you start, you go, am I crazy? Is this the right thing? And
That's
as you're
right.
doing, I'm doing this, I must not be crazy. And then a year or so later, you're like, I'm totally crazy. But yeah, I mean, it's for anyone who starts out on their own or goes out on their own, there's a reason for it. You just have to remember why you decided to go do it.
Correct.
Keep doing it.
But we're happier where we are running our own business.
That's it.
All right, let's move on to some of the juicier stuff here. Now tell us, now I know anyone who's uninitiated and not familiar with the whole gearing concept, here's a good chance to at least have Emila share those some juicy tidbits with us. So gearing, we've been hearing a lot about this whole negative gearing over the years. But recently, obviously, in a very low rate environment that we are in now, there's a lot of talk about positive gearing, which was frowned upon over the last 5 to 7 or 8 years. So tell us a little bit about negative gearing. What is that? And conversely, what is positive gearing?
Yeah. So simply put, for negative gearing, it's when you have a loan against your property and the costs associated with owning that property is higher than the actual rental income that you're receiving. So that results in negative gearing your investment property.
So when you say costs involved, is it just the interest on the investment loan?
Yeah, so yes, first one, that's the highest one usually, is the interest, but it'll be anything like council rates, water charges, any repairs that you've had to do to the property, and any agent fees if you're leasing your property through an agent. Trying to think of what else. There'll be like admin fees if you're leasing it out and setting that up. Body corporate if it's a apartment or a unit complex.
Unit, yeah. So let's just say, sorry, you keep going.
No, and there's also a component of capital works if a quantity surveyor report is obtained.
Depreciation.
Yeah.
So let's just use round numbers here for anyone who's just staring at Emila right now, like what? She just rattled on a whole bunch of stuff. I get what they are, but how does this still work? So let's just say your for the whole year, your outgoing is $10,000 on interest, council rates and all, but the rental income that you only receive is $7,000. So you're out of pocket $3,000. Okay, we use right nice round figures. So what happens now? Emma?
So negatively geared by 3,000. That's from what happens with the investment property. That 3,000 that gets reported in your tax return and reduces your income. And by income, it reduces all of your other taxable income, which will be, for example, for some people, their salary. It might be distribution from partnerships or trusts, any other interest income they may have received. So that reduces the 3,000 that's been negatively geared, reduces the overall income in an individual's return if the property is held in the individual name.
That makes more sense. Lovely. That's great. That's great. And I hope anyone who's still watching this, like, okay, it makes sense now. Lovely. So conversely, why are we seeing a lot of media, talking about positive gearing now, and you're saying you should consider positively gearing this in this low rate environment, and we all are, and historically it's never been this low.
Yeah, cash is so cheap at the moment, John, and to be honest, I don't think that I'm an economist, but with the rate so low, the only way is to go up, right? So
Correct.
At the moment, everything is so low. The highest cost associated with an investment property is that interest component. So if the charge for the year of the interest isn't as high as it used to be because of the interest rate, there's a chance that the property will be positively geared or even break even. So as an aspect of looking at it from a advantage point to positively gear, the upside of that is it's an additional income stream. So if we go back to the example of the 10,000 and the 7,000, let's just say the rental income was 11,000 and total costs were 10,000, then you have a profit of 1,000. Yes, that profit goes on top of your salary and you're paying the tax at your individual rate, but you have extra cash flow there to either be reinvested to either repay your own home that you're living in, or any other debts that you may have that aren't tax deductible, or even repay equity of your investment property. So as you positively gear, it's creating cash flow to then for you to decide how to use it.
That makes a lot of sense. And I hope anyone who's got any questions will obviously leave Emma and 412's details at the bottom. Feel free to reach out to her, or if you just want a dumbed down version, reach out to me, but I'll ultimately point you towards Emma anyways. There's no right or wrong for negative or positive gearing. It all depends on your individual circumstance. So don't say, oh, because everyone, the media is saying negative is good, let's go negative. But now people are saying positive is better, let's go positive. It completely depends on your situation. All right. Now, let's move on to the next one. We'll keep it short and sharp this whole session here. Now, obviously, it's by the time this video comes up, it's sometime in October. Now it's 3 or 4 months now past the start of the financial year, so you would have had a few months of busy tax returns and getting all the tax stuff done. Tell us, what kind of trends are you seeing, and are you seeing people tending to leaving things late, and if they are, what kind of skeletons in the closet they might see they leave things too late?
Yeah, surprises at the end of the year with the tax bill is one of them. I've seen that many times. There has been a trend. I mean, like you have people who prepare their return early on and, after that refund, or they know they have to pay or looking to finance, they need to obtain that. So everything is signed off. But from a trend point of view, people leave things late because it's too hard, right? It's too hard to get on top of it from an aspect of, I'll just do it later. And then it becomes the due date, and then potentially there might be a surprise of, hey, you actually had a tax bill rather than a refund, and it's due in a week, and you have to come up with money to pay it.
In a week? Oh God, that's
the
worst.
Sometimes by the end of May, like when you have to submit, it's late. So, and for anyone who's preparing their own returns this month for October, it's due 31st. So if you do it on the 31st and you're payable, you have to pay that. But I also say to people, if you'll be in a refund position, and you always have been, you want to get your money. There's no point the AHA hanging on to your money until like 11 months later. You want to get it.
So it's short-term pain, long-term gain, and I think everybody wants to take the bucket list and say, I am I'm a capable and honest tax-paying citizen, and I like to keep paying my taxes. But you know what? I deserve some dues back. So give me back my money.
Pretty much. And, there's been situations where someone will result in a payable right now, if we're to prepare their return and whatever their situation is, it's not due till the following year. So at least you're aware of what you're up for and you can plan for it. And to go back to what you were asking about trends, the biggest trend is lack of cash flow to repay, because it's a surprise. So from an aspect of, you might think, oh, it's not going to be a really good result for me, so I'll hold off. Don't hold off, prepare it and plan for it. And that's a pretty good trend to have.
And get someone like yourself to walk alongside anyone who's watching this to get your taxes done. Don't do it yourself. I've seen a lot of people say, I want to save some money, but what is it? A couple $100 if you're just just a sole employee, to maybe a couple grand, but you might miss a few steps along the way, and just get a professional to help you. Yeah.
And I think, like our main focus is being proactive, and we understand some people aren't keen to action this, but taxes, it's historical when you have to prepare it. After 30 June, that's it, what's happened and you have to act on that. So, as an advice and as a tip, start to revisit your tax early April, May, just to see what you can do and see what position you're in and how scenarios can play out. So, yeah.
Lovely. Now, you talked something about a deadline, something about there was due in October. And when you mentioned deadline, I realized that's one of the reasons why I noticed your social media early on, over a year ago, because your social media is actually very on point. And I like your social media because it's very clear, it's very clean, but it says, have you done this? That's the deadline. Swipe right to have a look more. And sometimes even I say, I know this, but this is fun. And I think I'll encourage anyone who's watching this to jump on the 412 Instagram page. I think even on Facebook, if you got one. Jump on and have a look at the social. It's very clean, and MLS and the team is always constantly producing some very informative stuff, and it actually makes tax. You want to give tax a hug because it's not scary at all because of how they present it. So I want to hug you, tax. Thank you, Emila.
Yeah. And sometimes paying tax is not a bad thing, from an aspect of you're making money. So that's saying that's showing something good.
That's right. It's if you're paying tax, you're making money. I like that. If anyone would take anything away out of this conversation, that's it. If you're paying tax, you're making money.
Yeah, that's true. And we all pay it through our salary. It's just that we don't see it sometimes because if people who are earning a salary, the employer's looking after that. Where if you're self-employed, then that's when it's a little bit more obvious because you're the one having to manage it. So,
correct.
And it can be a shock sometimes.
And lastly, this is very easy. How can we find you on social media? I mentioned Instagram and Facebook. You want to share with us, Emila?
Yeah, so we can be found on Instagram, 412 Accountants, Facebook as well. And when when the lockdowns ease up, we can also be found in South Melbourne Market Street, near the market.
Wonderful. I go there all the time, but I just drive past it now. I just try not to be physically there. Lovely.
It's like that with everything these days.
And again, I'll leave all the details below. Feel free to reach out, hit 412 Accountants, give them a like and a follow. And Emila is very friendly, and they respond very quickly. So hit them up. And thank you to Emila and everyone who's watching. Emila, just stay on this video, obviously, once I hit the end record. But everyone else out there, have a good day. Take care.
See you, everyone.